Welcome to another edition of Kyle Meredith with. It's the interview series presented by WFPK at WFPK.org, Consequence, and the Consequence Podcast Network. Thanks as always for making your way here, checking out the series. Of course, you know what to do. If you like what you see, what you hear, hit that subscribe button. I put out 3 new interviews every single week, so it's a great way to keep up with all of your favorite artists. And I am so excited to have a living legend joining me, Idina Menzel. Hello.
Hi, that was a really nice introduction. Thank you. I'm going to
Well,
use that for my ego today.
it's absolutely true. Everything that you've been a part of, whether we're talking Broadway, music, or movies and television, and of course with your own work here, you've got a brand new record called Drama Queen that is so much fun to listen to.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I guess let's start there because you're always busy. I mean, and we'll talk about some other things because you've got books out, you've got a clothing line going, like you're always busy, but you've always kind of catered to this part of your career as well. It hasn't been since the self-titled record, which was what, 2016, since you put out a proper record.
Yeah.
So why the album now? How did we land here?
I was sitting in quarantine. I was sitting in a quarantine. And
See, a little
I
bit more
think
and you have our Kentucky accent. That's so close. Yeah.
and I was thinking about what kind of album I would want to make and just feeling like I've always adhered to other people's ideas of what I should record and I just didn't want to overthink it. I just wanted to do what I wanted to do. I wanted to make music that made people get up and dance, where they didn't have to be as behaved as they are in a theater for the most part. And I wanted to, but I knew that I wanted to still sing and sing big and dynamic and with my range and not reel that back in for sort of a vibey record necessarily. So I knew that dance and disco has always been really supportive of women's voices and having these great grooves and this undercurrent underneath, I knew that it was sort of it's been done too. It's not like it was going to be the hugest transition or departure from for someone like me. I mean, the women that I've grown up listening to all had their moments. I mean, of course, there was Donna Summer, but who's an incredible singer. But even Barbra Streisand had a disco moment, and Diana Ross, and you have Gloria Gaynor, and you have Cher, who went back and did a dance album and had like some of her biggest success with that. So people are often asking me, oh, it's just unexpected of you, but it didn't feel like it was such a huge leap. And then I'm friendly with Nile Rodgers, and I called him and I said, I want to do this. I want to do, I want to do it with you. I want to, what do you think? Um, do you think this crazy? Can I get away with this? And he was just totally a yes man and a mentor for me on this and a huge advocate. And so that's where I was.
Yeah, working with Nile, especially. I mean, I watched that video of you all doing it's Paradise, right? That's the track you did.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and like you're saying, Nile, do Nile, be yourself. Like, and maybe we'll talk about that track specifically since we're here. Like, how easy is it for him just to pull that out like that? Because just watching him hit those, guitar
Yeah,
parts, like it's nothing.
I know. Uh, it seems pretty easy. I mean, all greats, they make things that are hard seem effortless. But it's what I really loved about my experience with him was, I knew, but seeing it up close was just what a consummate musician he is. He's an arranger. He's a composer. He can compose for all instruments and obviously do all styles of music, which I'm just so happy for him because this young generation has really found their way back to him, and they're all asking him to play on their album or write music with them. And so I just felt so lucky to be hanging out with him in his house in Connecticut in the studio and it was just one of those pinch me moments.
Yeah. Yeah. Just thinking about, I mean, you're right, the versatility, knowing what he's done. You could just throw a dart. I think there's Bowie and B-52s and et cetera, et cetera. And
Yeah.
not just him, but I mean, you worked with a lot of people. Jake Shears, buddy of mine.
Jake
What
Shears.
which one did you all do together?
Oh, Jake Shears. And I did Dramatic and a song that I love called A Funny Kind of Lonely. And we did it with this incredible producer, writer, Jim Elliott. And I had always wanted to work with him. I love Scissor Sisters. And I was in London and we had been trying to set it up. And then because I was in London and he was in London, it worked out. We were all in the studio together. We'd never met. We started writing Dramatic. We all fell in love with each other. We hadn't really completely finished, like we'd written the song, but there was a couple more lyrics we needed, and we certainly didn't have that much time to really record it. You know, it was just sort of on our voice memo. And so then Jim, who lives in Wales, said, "I'm so upset. I'm so sorry. I would stay an extra day, but I have to get home to my wife and my kids." And Jake said, "Well, we'll come home with you." And and Jim took the train for whatever reason. He took the train, and Jake and I rented a car, and we drove 6 hours to Weld, and we just talked the whole way, and we finished the lyrics, and it was one of those just great creative experiences. And then when we got to Jim's and he fed us, and we met his family, and then we went down to his studio downstairs, and then we started vibing, and we wrote this other track, which I really hasn't been released yet, but it's called Funny Kind of Lonely. And it's actually one of the vocals that I'm most proud of that I've recorded in a long time.
Yeah. B-side, thinking?
It's on there. No, is there such a thing as a B-side? Well, I will have vinyl.
Oh, it's on the album, right? Yeah.
I will have vinyl. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, Jake's one of the great nomads. That makes perfect sense that he would just be like, "Where are you going? So am I."
I know.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would have had the balls to do that, but he did.
He did, yeah. So when you go into a record like this and you've picked your lane, and, you know, and you have the variations, the small variations between, but you have a sound. You're like, this is going to be a disco record. Does that take the pressure off of songwriting, or is it maybe the opposite? I mean, if it's black and whites.
Hmm. Does it take the pressure off the songwriting? No, because the genre is one thing, and then writing a great song is another thing, you know. And I've certainly been around long enough and had enough albums that haven't seen the light of day that, you know, you can write the greatest song and it doesn't get out there, or people don't think it's as great as you and the other musicians think it is. So it's really hard, you know, to write a great song. And I don't really, to be honest, I used to write songs, you know, mostly on my own, melody and lyrics on my own. But I had done my first album like that. And then when I worked with Glenn Ballard, he was really supportive of me as a songwriter and pretty much forced me to go off and write everything on my own. But I don't really enjoy it that much. It's like, it's really hard for me to make decisions. I kind of like just kind of throwing in everything in the kitchen sink and letting someone else sort of pick and choose and say, "Oh, that's your hook and that's a great lyric and I love that melody for the verse." You know, otherwise I just have the hardest time completing a song. I loathe the way it feels, and this happens even when you're collaborating with people, obviously. But I loathe that feeling of the nighttime session where you think you've written something incredible and waking up in the morning and it sucks. I just It's just so upsetting to me. But anyway, so now I surround myself with people I think are much more talented than me, and I get in the room with them and I do that thing, and I bring my little phone, my little recorder, and I put my ideas down, I bring it in, and I bring lyrics and melodies, and we talk, and they love to work with me, they say, because I just kind of, I'm very forthcoming with my life and my stories right off the bat. It doesn't take much to get me to just spill it, and they find that really helpful. I guess some artists come in and they're a little bit more guarded, and they have to kind of draw it out. Me, I'm just like, what do you want to know? What do you want to know? So we could write a great song about it. What can I exploit about my life that will get us a great song? So it's just so much more fun to me to collaborate.
Yeah. And those moments are on here because, we talk about the fun of the album. And by the way, I did want to say, like, I know exactly what you mean because I talk about it a lot, how great a 10 p.m. idea is versus how bad it is at 10 a.m. I deal with that a lot too. But those moments of this record, because, you have the very fun moments that we're talking about. And then you get some songs on here, Make Me Hate Me.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
Mm-hmm.
the most poignant on the subject that we're talking about. Like, and I don't know, like, if there's a singular impetus for a song like that, but I mean, you're making a big statement. Where did that?
Well, that I wrote with Laura Veltz, who is a Grammy-winning songwriter and a good friend of mine, and she's one of the best lyricists I know, and top line writers. Um, and those are one of the lyrics I'm most proud of on the album. I love the concept, and it was early on too when I said I think the album should be called Drama Queen, and this is the style, and we came up with that. I'm just really proud of that, and it has. I like the melody, but I love the sexiness of the track. I think it's just really raw, and I like the lyric that's now I'm gonna pull it out of my butt to remember. What is it? You make me out to be a sadistic drama queen. You can make me hate me. You can shit talk all you need, like make a villain out of me. But you can make me hate me. I love it. It's angry, I guess, is what it is. And I feel like so often I have to be this role model and be, really uplifting and hopeful for everybody and empowering. And once in a while, it's nice to just, be able to have a little angst, because I have that.
Yeah, you ought to know moments.
Yes, I guess so.
It's interesting. It got me thinking about. I mean, everybody deals with this, but especially when you're in a public eye. I mean, there's perceptions of who people think you are. There's reputations, and then there's the truth, right? Mm-hmm. Or I was watching something the other day that said it was maybe it's a television show, and it started with it said that oh no, it's the Joan Baez documentary. And it said, people who live three lives: the public life, the private life, and then their secret life.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
public, private, and secret. Yeah, wow. So there's a difference between private and secret.
Right.
Yeah. I'm trying to think
because so much of your life we live right here. We're living in our head, right?
Yes.
So like, there's just some parts that even in your private life, those people aren't going to see.
That they're not going to see. And there are secrets, and everybody has them as well. So, yeah, I'm just trying to think of what right now.
Well, I'm sure we're not going to be hearing about them, or they wouldn't be secret. But
yes, exactly.
But just hearing about, like I think I'm going wide on what you're talking about here, but kind of taking that context in a song like this, and even in Royalty, I think it was the bridge of Royalty, like you kind of hit on it there.
Yeah, I love that you've listened. Thank you for listening.
When I said it was a good record, I meant it.
Thank you. I believe it is a good record. Of course, how does the bridge go? It's so hard for me to just pull it out. That's what she said. Oh my God.
See, now this is where I messed up, and I didn't actually write down the lyrics. It's like I just made the mental note, like, oh right, yeah, it's spider webs.
Yeah. What? Oh God, I got to bring it up. I don't know what it is right now. I can't think of it right now. I'll get it. Sorry.
But anyway, it's interesting hearing you talk about that part, and from just what you said, like that's why people love working with you, because you just open it up. And,
I do. Yeah, but it's selfish. It's so that I can get a great song.
Well, then I'll tie that back to the beginning of the album, because it's also interesting the way on Move and on Beast, there's this look at me, center stage.
Yes.
But it's not narcissistic. It's like empowerment. Like that could have been looked at like this is a narcissistic, but it seems like it comes across as empowering.
Empowering or needy, you know.
Things can be
Asking
both,
people to
multitudes, right?
please look at me. Um, it kind of is that, you know. I mean, it isn't needy. The way the music is not needy, but it's both songs are Move With Me. It sounds like it's just a dance song, but the really the meaning is about someone that's keeping you in their shadow, and it's move for me, you know, get out of my way. um so there's that, and then it's sort of defiance, and then yeah, same thing with Beast is another one where it's just sort of rage and having compromised who I am for somebody else, you know. So yeah, I guess there's a lot in there. It's, you know, it's called drama queen because I think that word is you know, is sort of, it's looked at as a negative word, and I feel like I wanted to reframe it, reclaim it, um, because it's like, why do we have to apologize for being someone that has really big, intense emotions? I mean, doesn't that make us more interesting, you know? And so you hear on the album, you hear the fury, and you hear the passion, and you hear a little sexy and funny, and you hear it's sensitive, you know, you hear someone that's really emotional. So I think and everybody has that, so just sort of trying not to apologize for that, you know.
Yeah. Well, it does make for a fantastic record, and it makes for a great skating album. I'll also say that.
You mean roller skating?
Roller skating. This is a
Yep.
record that makes me want to roller skate. So I wish I haven't done it in a while, but I can do it again. It is. It's such a fun record, and the powerful moments are very powerful. And again, as I wrap up, just also noting that you got the book with Proud Mouse, you got the encore with the
Yes,
Clothing
you're so
Collection.
sweet
Yeah,
to be
everything all at
saying all this
once.
stuff.
Yeah,
Everything all at once. But thank you for putting the spotlight on the album and talking so in depth about the actual music, because it really means a lot to me. I feel like, you know, we get um, uh, pigeonholed a lot, especially if we come from the theater, and you know, sort of the integrity and the credibility of doing this kind of music. And I think that, I don't know, I think I deserve to be heard with at least fresh, objective ears, you know. So I appreciate you making me feel cool and having me on your podcast.
thanks so much for taking the time to talk about it. Congrats on the record too.
And thank you. Talk to you soon.
And thanks to my guest. Also, thanks to you for checking out the episode in the series. Before you get out of here, hit that subscribe button. Again, you get 3 brand new interviews every single week. New one every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at right here on YouTube, or of course anywhere in podcast land, including iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podchaser, NPR, or WFPK.org as well. A great way to keep up with your favorite artists and discover new ones as well. Then after that, actually head over to WFPK.org. That's where I do a show Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern. It's an hour full of song premieres, music news, anniversary spins, bonus interviews, Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern at WFPK.org. Consequence has your music and film news. You can also find me on the social media spots, Facebook, Instagram, mostly on Twitter. All 3 of them, the address is at Kyle Meredith. Do hope you like and follow along. That does it for another edition. I'm Kyle Meredith. I'll see you next time.